It's another great day in Morgantown, West Virginia. The football game between West Virginia and Albany is about to kick off. Everyone, grab your favorite beverage.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Well, what's going on, Mountaineer Nation? And if you are a Mountaineer, you're probably wondering, what the hell happened to Penn State? Why didn't we face that same Penn State team last week? They looked bad today. Either they looked bad or Bowling Green looked really good. And I'm not doubting that Bowling Green's good, but come on. Not good. I don't think they're that good. So Penn State had a very bad day. If anybody watched that game. Anyway, welcome in. We got a little show lined out for you today. We don't have a lot planned. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to tell you some scores from earlier today. We're going to talk about the West Virginia Albany game. I'll probably drop the link here in a second, invite some people in, let you guys come in and hang out with me a little bit if you want to before the game. Let's talk some football, guys. We came in here last week. We talked some football, and we were all excited. We were fired up. And then after that game, we all had our little letdown. But now it's time, right? Now it's time. And so today, maybe we can chalk up our first victory for the year, right? But let's not underestimate our opponent. They are ranked number 16 in the FCS. They are a pretty good team. They did go to the semifinals last year. So, they're coming in here, and this is a big game for them. They only get one of these a year. And this is like their Super Bowl every year, right? It's either, I think Albany played Pitt or Penn State 2 years ago, and they play Syracuse. They stay here on the East Coast like area up here in the Northeast and play all those teams. And now they're going to take us on today, and they always have upset on their mind. Now West Virginia has never been beaten by an FCS opponent, not the first time. So let's not let the day start that out. So if you want to run down some scores for you guys real quick, but first off, let me tell everybody hi in the chat. Appreciate everybody coming in, stopping in with us this morning or this evening, rather. Timothy Green, he says, as of right now, I truly think we have a chance to win the Big 12 championship this year. Let's go Mountaineers. My score prediction is 56-13 Mountaineers, of course, today. So, yeah, I can see West Virginia winning this game big today. Big 12 championship, I don't know, been keeping it on that Utah game. I know Baylor's not nothing to, you know, write home about. They're not very good, but Utah's manhandling them. When I came over to my computer, anyway, they were. Um, Dave Brown, the Bourbon Hunter. What's going on, Dave Brown? He's a Louisville fan. Now, Louisville's playing right now. Let's see what the score of the Louisville game is. 21-7. Louisville is over Jacksonville State right now. So the Fighting Rich Rodriguez's are hanging on there in Louisville right now. Scott Lemon in here. Appreciate you being here. How about that fake Penn State? Told you we blew that game ourselves. They're not as good as they think. They're overrated. It pissed me off seeing Bowling Green almost beating them. It made us look, and I know what you're going to say. It made us look horrible. And you know what? Here's the way I looked at that. When this started out, I was like, "Oh man, this looks really, really bad." You know that Bowling Green's doing this to Penn State. But then I realized the more points that Bowling Green scores, and the closer they keep that game, makes it look like the Penn State did not underestimate West Virginia. They came ready to play. I think they just underestimated Bowling Green. I think they just figured it was a week off, relax, relax for 3 quarters and play one. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. They were not the same team as last week. So I think Bowling Green played above their level, and I think Penn State played a couple of notches below their level, in my opinion. So, but anyway, appreciate you being here. Sky's the limit. Talker's Pit's in the house. So what's going on, Talker's Pit? He says Albany played us 5 years ago and lost 38-7. Okay, thanks, Talker's Pit. I knew that you guys had played Albany here recently. Anyway, guys, let's run over some of these scores for right going on right now. Tennessee Tech, nothing. Georgia 45. That's in the fourth quarter. I think that one's well in hand. We figured that one out anyway. Second quarter, how about this score? NIU 13, Notre Dame 7. So that's at the Notre Dame today. So NIU is upsetting Notre Dame right now in the second quarter. It's still very early in that game. Middle Tennessee and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is ahead 9-0 over Middle Tennessee State in the first quarter. Game that I was just talking about right now. Utah 17, Baylor nothing. Early in the second quarter. This game right here. This is kind of surprising me really. 9:50 to go in the second quarter. Iowa State nothing. Iowa 10. I really figured that was going to be a game that would be back and forth if it was going to be some scoring like this. Because Iowa's, scored a couple of times and they've moved the ball pretty good. So I'm wondering about Iowa State right now. I'm kind of worried about them because I really figured Iowa State would pull out this win. Seeing all the starters they have back, they're loaded, guys. Iowa State's loaded. So I really figured they would have a really potent offense. I knew Iowa would have a good defense, obviously. But I really figured Iowa State's offense would overpower that defense, and it's just not happening so far. Jacksonville State 7, Louisville 21. I think I told you that score already. Fourth quarter, Missouri State 14, Ball State 21. Third quarter, St. Francis 20, Kent State 14. Third quarter, Utah Tech 7, UNLV 44. I looked at that a while ago, and it was second quarter, into the second quarter, and it was 41-7, I think. So it's 44-7 now. They had 41 before halftime. In second quarter, Cal has got 14 and Auburn has 7. So Cal beating Auburn right now 14-7, and that's at Auburn. Duquesne nothing, Boston College 28, second quarter. This one shocks me a little bit. South Carolina 7, Kentucky nothing, second quarter. So South Carolina holding their own there. I think they were a little mad. They're picked to finish like dead last in the SEC, and they're not real happy about that. Michigan State 14, Maryland 14, second quarter. Maryland looking pretty good. The only problem I've seen with Maryland, what I got to see at the game, is they were throwing the deep ball like religiously. They must have threw the deep ball 4 plays in a row, and none of them connected. So I don't know. I don't remember that ever being Maryland style of football, throwing that ball deep like that consecutive over and over. So that kind of shocks me. But anyway, tied up 14 with Michigan State right now. Temple nothing, Navy 23, second quarter. North Carolina over Charlotte right now, 14-6 in the second quarter. Toledo 10, Massachusetts 3. No, what quarter is that one? Second quarter, and then also in the second quarter, Eastern Michigan 3, Washington 7, South Dakota 3, Wisconsin 14, Idaho 14, Wyoming 10. Good game there. That's in the second quarter as well. And UTSA and Texas State winning that one 6-0 right now. So, now anybody catch some football games earlier today? I mean, we had some really good football games today. I am really shocked at that Bowling Green Penn State game, though. That really shocked me. So, go back over here in the chat, see what they bounced as interesting week so far. Yeah, let's see that. Ooh, wow, I'm way up there. Let's see what we got here. Like I said before, I still think we've got a good chance to win the Big 12. Let's go Mountaineers, and hello everybody in the chat. Yeah, to a degree, and I agree. So, and then Sky Limit says, I agree, Joey, but Penn State's so cocky. That's what upsets me. Yeah, really, I know. They are. They're really cocky. You think Pitt fans are cocky? My God. Penn State fans are really cocky. So let's see. Falcons Pitt says Iowa State isn't a consistent team. That's their problem. Yeah, in the landscape of college football right now, seems like it's hard for everybody to be a consistent team that's not at the very top. If you're not named Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, it doesn't seem like there's consistency anywhere. I mean, look at Florida State. Look how good they were last year. Now look at them this year. Look at Clemson. Look at Miami. They were terrible for so many years. This year they're pretty damn good. There's just no consistency anywhere in college football right now. There's a different landscape out there, changing things up. I'm gonna drop a link down here in the chat. Anybody like to come in and talk a bit of college football? Let's talk about the Albany West Virginia game. Let's talk about the Pitt Cincinnati game, if you want to. I'd love to have everybody come in that wants to. So then we'll go to. Let me just a second. All right, so let's see if I can get you guys some final scores because we didn't go over these finals. So let's go over the final scores. All right, final score: Georgia Tech 28, Syracuse 21. I watched that game. I had said this last night or Thursday night on the show, and then I said it last night too on the show. Syracuse will upset Georgia Tech. That's what I kept telling everybody. Syracuse will upset Georgia Tech. That's what happened. 31-28. So congratulations, Syracuse. Sorry, Georgia Tech. You're not there yet. Arkansas 31, Oklahoma State 39. That game went to 2 overtimes. And, Oklahoma State had a chance to win the game and missed a field goal. I don't remember what it was, 27 yards. It was close. It wasn't even far. Texas 31, Michigan 12. Was not even a game from the opening kickoff. It was just at one-sided. Michigan looked horrible. Texas looked amazing. So, Penn State 34, Bowling Green 27. We talked about that one. Let me bring some people in the back room with me. We have a good old Louisville friend of ours, Nate Brown, and we have Mr. And hey, what's going on? Say something. Pitt today. Tell me a little bit about that one. Talk a bit.
I did not. All right, so I was half right and I was half wrong about how the game would go. I was right that Cincinnati would dominate the first half and then blow it in the second half. I just didn't think it would be as close as it was. I thought we truly could pull away and win this thing by 2 possessions, 10 points or more. And Eli Holstein, I guess, in his first, I don't want to call it a big game, although it is a big game for Pitt. Next week is even bigger for us. He looked like any typical freshman out there, like a deer caught in his headlights for the first half. at least. Now, the second half, that's a completely different story. He played absolute lights out and ended up with 330 yards passing. So, I mean, holy crap. And I'm looking at him, Joey. There's 5 times where Cincinnati should have tackled Eli in the backfield. And all 5 of those times he was able to escape. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 players going after him. I'm talking about the whole entire defensive line back there. And he still juked every single one of them.
You know, that Cincinnati team, they jumped all over you early. And it looked very one-sided early in that game, you know. Now, you guys came back, you know, and stuff and things. But yeah, Cincinnati jumped on you early. That slow start you had ought to scare you, number one. Because if you're up against somebody, Louisville must have scored. If you're up against somebody, if you're up against a real team, because that Cincinnati team, let's face it, they're picked to finish last in the Big 12. They're one of the worst teams, if not the worst in the Big 12.
Definitely. Our defense, Joey, and I said this in the preseason, our defense is what's going to cost us this year. And it's because we still apparently can't tackle. So many missed tackles. And when I mean missed tackles, those are missed tackles that would have greatly affected the outcome of the game, or at least the first half, to the point where it wouldn't have looked so one-sided, as you said, so lopsided. I'll tell you what, though, Eli Holstein wasn't the one who saved this game. That was definitely Desmond Reed, the FCS transfer. And a lot of people, some of your fan base, Joey, did too. But then they were like, well, we have Jaheim White. He's not much bigger than Desmond Reed. Desmond Reed's 5'8", 175, 180. And he just wouldn't quit. Just would not quit. He said, you're not going to use my size against me. And he gasped. We have never had a running back gain 100 yards receiving and rushing in the same game, Joey. Same game. Yeah. Same game. Desmond Reed had 144 yards rushing and 110 yards receiving.
You know who's had 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, 100 yards punt return, and 100 yards in punt returns, obviously, in one game?
Who?
Tavon Austin.
Yeah, I figured you were going to say Austin because, I mean, who else in West Virginia's history can match his talent speed-wise and just pure route running ability?
Yeah.
There's nobody. I mean,
the thing about it is the team he did it against, you would have never thought that's the team he would have done it against. You would have thought it would have been somebody like Albany, right? But no, this was against Oklahoma. He did that.
Oh,
he had almost 400 yards rushing against over 300. What was it, guys? What did he have? 330 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, 100 yards of punt returns. I mean, he had over 500 yards of offense by himself.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
All-purpose yards.
Yeah.
That's quite an effort.
So Dave, tell me something. Now, the Fighting Rich Rodriguez is holding on there for a minute, but it looks like you're pulling away now.
They missed a short field goal. Or maybe it wasn't so short, but they're moving the ball really well, which you could expect maybe from a Rich Rod team. Being a small school, I'm surprised that our defense is giving up some plays. And that gives me pause because it means I'm getting in for a long season. You know, I got Notre Dame coming up. I got Pittsburgh coming up, you know, and several others. And, of course, I know we're here mostly for West Virginia, okay? Yeah. But it's great to be able to talk about some of the other things we've seen this weekend. So thank you, Joey.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I want to do here, guys. I don't, you know, it's West Virginia channel, and I'm a Mountaineer, and we have Mountaineer shows all week long. And I know it's the Mountaineer pregame show, but hey, what better than to bring in a rival of West Virginia in Talker's Pit here, and a rival of West Virginia with Louisville, bringing in Dave Brown. I think it's fantastic, man.
It is great that
As
we
a
can
matter
all
of
get
fact,
together.
it's like a crossover Thursday. Y'all know my crossover show on Thursday where I bring in 2
Yeah.
rivals and stuff, or 3 rivals together. So that's what this is. This is a crossover rivalry here. And
Yeah, I
so
couldn't make that show. I apologize. I couldn't make that show, or else it would have been cool. Have a West Virginia fan. I don't know if you know any Cincinnati people who do YouTube videos. I don't. We'll clown on Cincinnati here in a second. But that would have been great having me, you, and a Cincinnati guy. We're not
yeah,
rivaled with Louisville. Louisville's one of those teams that we have more mutual respect for because it's not. Nobody dominates the series between Pitt and Louisville. It's either we win one a year, then they win the following year, then it goes back and forth and back and forth. So it's competitive with Louisville. That's what
yeah.
it is.
Well, West Virginia and Louisville, I guess, is a rivalry. But I think if you look at the numbers, Dave, what are the numbers? What's the numbers on the game?
Oh, 13-4. You won the
13.
first 4 games in the '80s when I was around. I mean, after my time, but I was at the games and I got my ass handed to me by everybody in the '80s. Miami, Florida State, West Virginia. Didn't matter.
Yeah. So we're 13-4 against you. So,
Right.
and I guess that kind of made it a rivalry like back in 2006 and 7 because you guys had only beaten us 3 times up until that point. And, so it kind of made that rivalry happen, that 2006 game, right? And then it went to all those overtimes and things. And then the next year it went to all these overtimes and stuff. It was like, it was a really good battle there for a few years between West Virginia and Louisville.
Yeah, and I think that was what
we
was
dominated
that
before that.
Big East. I'm getting old. I forget stuff. But was that Big East when we were
That was
when we
Big
both,
East, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
Big East. Yeah.
we move around so much I can't keep. I mean, I started with. We were independent when in 1965. I don't know. Actually, we might have already been in the Missouri Valley Conference by then, with all the Tulsas and other small schools and stuff.
Yeah. I'm getting some feedback on you, Dave. I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
Is it me?
It's gone now. Well, no, maybe it's not. It might be.
I hear that echo.
Let me mute you a second there, Pitt. Let's see. Talk to me, Dave.
You won't hear anything out of me except
Okay.
yes or no, sir.
Yeah, it must be you. It must be you talking. Yeah, I am muted. But yeah,
Yeah, let me put on my Bluetooth because that's when it seems to not necessarily stop, but you're not going to really notice it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's wrong with this phone. It's a brand new phone, but ever since I've gotten it, it's just had multiple issues with sound.
So I'll tell you what I've got on my TVs up here. So I've got a 70-inch TV and a 50-inch TV right here in my living room. And so I've got YouTube TV, so you can put 4 games on at once, right? So I've got 8 games going on up here. The problem is they're on the other side of my living room, and I can't see none of them. So I've got them all on, so I thought I could sit here and look at these games, and I can't see a daggone thing that's going on in any of them, probably because I'm so daggone old. So I want to keep up with scores, though. So let's see what's going on over here, if any of these scores have changed real quick. So Utah is leading 23-0 now over Baylor. Ole Miss leading Middle Tennessee 17-0. So in Louisville, it's all over Jacksonville State 28-7.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay. Cool. UNLV is all over Utah Tech, so that's kind of figured that was going to happen. Let's see, South Carolina 10-0 over Kentucky. So South Carolina, hey, they must be looking pretty good over there. I wish I could watch a little bit of that game, but can't see it.
Okay, I've got it on.
Out at 14. I'm wondering if Maryland ever found a deep ball. So there we go. Falcons pitch back with us, and that sounds better already.
They sound
Well, that
better.
sounds better already. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I think for now on, what I'm just gonna do, even when I record my videos on my phone, I'm just gonna have my Bluetooth connected for now on because it has a built-in wireless microphone. So
Yeah. Yeah, that
12
sounds a lot.
bucks, $12 Walmart, $12 Walmart. That's how
Well,
cheap
look
I
at
am.
Walmart. Yeah. Hey,
free from Marlboro. The cigarettes will kill me, but
Oh,
free.
that's even better. You didn't have to pay a
hey, I
damn
tell you
thing.
what.
I got two of them, so when one dies, I can charge the other up. I need to charge her up.
Nice. I
I
mean, it's
tell
only
you
going to
what, no
cost
lie,
you a
this
lump.
actually happened to me. This actually happened to me the other night. I was on the show, and hell, it might have been on this channel. I don't remember if I was on this channel or Traveling Fools or Exploring with Ben and Sam or where I was. But my microphone completely went out. I mean, just died. Nothing would work, and I had to go and grab a $8 microphone from Walmart. I had
Uh-huh.
one here already that I had bought for somebody. Never got to give it to him. So I had like this $8 microphone from Walmart, and I hooked it up, and I had to finish the show like that. So you know what? I ain't gonna knock it because I went back and listened, and I couldn't tell a damn bit of difference. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the cheaper stuff that tend to work the best.
Yeah, yeah. Because this is a $270 mic. I love it, but you got to be right on top of it. If I go away from it a little bit, you can't hardly hear me. So I got to be right directly on top of it. So anyway, enough about microphones. Let's get back to football. It is football Saturday and
It is.
Albany. So this Albany team. Let me see. I think I've got some stats over here that I seen the other night. Let's see if they left them up here. Let's see about Albany. There we go. Let's see. State University of New York. Program began in 1920s and rejuvenated in the 1970s. Division three program. So yeah, I don't know much about Albany to be honest with you. They beat LIU by 6 in the home opener last week, and Saturday's game, arguably the biggest game in school history. Now that's what it says here, and this was taken off of the Albany Times Union. That this is the arguably the biggest game in school history coming to
Is the
Morgantown.
game is it's in Morgantown?
Yeah. So
Oh,
because
okay.
this is a game for them guys. This is a team that's going to come in here and they're going to be ready to fight. And this is
They
the number
are.
16. They're the number 16 ranked FCS team in the country. And last year they went to the semifinals, and they returned a lot of them players. So this is a pretty good team. You know, you've seen FCS programs upset people every single year. Our West
Yeah.
Virginia Mountaineers today better be ready to play. They better not be looking ahead to Pitt. I mean, they better not be thinking about the past and looking back at Penn State, and they better not be looking ahead to Pitt. They better be looking at this Albany team who's coming in
Yeah.
here, according to them, as one of their biggest games of all time. They're wanting to come in here and win. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I even said that to your fan base, Joey. I said your fan base, you guys cannot you cannot afford to overlook Albany because take it from a Pitt fan who has suffered some horrendous losses to FCS opponents in the past decade because we just got caught looking forward to the next game. It happens. It happened to Youngstown State, which we end up playing them in a couple of weeks. We it happened to Western Michigan. It happened to Akron.
mhm, yep,
So I mean, and Akron's in the same conference, if I'm not mistaken, as Albany. Are they? No, or is no, because Akron, I believe, is FBS and Albany's FCS.
right, yeah, Albany's F
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. I thought they were actually in the same conference, but Albany. See, here's the thing: Albany played us. I don't want to say well, but better than we thought they would 5+ years ago. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we didn't look too hot in that game, even though it was a 38-7 victory. I mean, you're expected to put up more points against a team out of the FCS than 38 points. That's when you're expected to drop 50 to 60. Maybe if you can get into the 70s, drop 70 on them. Now, people are going to be
Right.
like, well, that's not unsportsmanlike. That's not sportsmanlike. Okay, I don't care. Well, maybe they should stop us from scoring. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna put my. Yeah, I'm not gonna put my twos and my threes in and tell them not to score.
Yeah. That I'm looking forward to seeing Garrett Green today because last week he just seems to me like he was like last year they had him leaning more towards like Pat White guy, like a running guy.
Mm-hmm.
What I seen last week leaned more towards like a Major Harris guy, a guy that can scramble a little bit, but was going to throw the ball down the field on you.
Yeah.
And I don't think Garrett Green is either one of them guys. He's not a drop back passer, and he's not a Pat White. I think they need to let Garrett Green be Garrett Green. I don't know if that was
Exactly.
coaching that did that or if that was Garrett Green. And I'm hoping they realized that they watched the film and realized they kept him in a bottle if it was coaching because he literally looked like he was in a bottle and couldn't get out of it last week. And that wasn't the Garrett Green of last year,
No, and I watched
so,
that game.
Yeah. It's just a
I watched
completely
that game,
different.
Joey. It definitely did. See, here's what I also saw. He still has problems throwing the ball downfield. I seen a lot of underthrown passes that could have been there if he would just put a slight more touch on it. It seems like it's almost there, Joey, but it's just.
But see, here's the thing about it. Garrett Green last year completes that pass. Some of them passes he missed, he completed those last year because he was being Garrett Green. Yeah, and that's a little bit more towards the Pat White side. He likes to scramble and run around, and he'll push the ball down the field. But if he's got to take off, that's just what he's going to do. That's the Garrett Green that I like, that everybody likes. Like I said, I don't know if Garrett Green. I don't know if Garrett Green was in his own head last week and trying to become a better drop back passer. Making some eyeballs for the NFL or what he's trying to do. Stop it if you are. And the same thing with coaching. If you're coaching Garrett Green to do that, stop that. I mean, it's just silly. So I'm really looking forward to what I see today out of Garrett Green.
Mm-hmm. You got to coach Green to what he's good at, and if you can't coach around his abilities and his flaws of that matter, because look, any good coach can make a bad quarterback look good. It all depends on what plays you give him. And Garrett Green's one of those quarterbacks that, in my opinion, the longer he throws or the longer he holds on to the ball, the more chance of something bad happening.
So
he needs to get that ball
Pokemon
out.
Kid coming in here. Pokemon Kid, appreciate you. I don't believe I've seen you in the chat before here. Appreciate you. I believe Green will show his skills. He will hit passes today, and that's what we need. Garrett Green just throwing little short passes. 5-6 yards down the field, even a few bubble screens at times or whatever. But I just think he needs to be a little bit more mobile instead of being in a pocket. Like he was trying to be a pocket passer for me, and I just thought that was bad. Zachary coming in here. Zachary, appreciate you being here. Another one I don't think I've ever seen here. After seeing Bowling Green today, give them a game made me feel even worse about last week, the big letdown. And we talked about that earlier, and I was saying, I think it did to me at the beginning, but then I started thinking about it, and I thought, wait a minute. Penn State played a lot better last week. I mean, it was obvious. They played so good last week. So they were really up for West Virginia. They knew that was a must-win game. They knew it. And if they'd lost to West Virginia, there's no way they're going to give them credit to Big Ten, right? Big Ten's going to be mad at them and everything else. So they had to win that game. So it's a big game for them. So I feel like them players were really high on that game. There was a lot of trash talking guys going on there, a lot between West Virginia and Penn State players before that game, months before that game. So this was a big game for both teams. And I think that this week Penn State was just like put it in cruise control and play the fourth quarter. Live,
It
just we.
almost cost them.
I know.
It
And
almost
so
cost them. Like that was the dumbest thing I have ever seen a coach do is go in there and be like, "Yeah, we're just going to run all over them." Because look, every time it happens, Joey, it doesn't go that way. Because Bowling Green, what they're going to see is okay, they're not playing as hard. All right, we need to play harder, and it almost cost them. I mean, there's what 2 or 3 times during the game where Penn
yeah,
State fell behind. I mean,
yeah. I
come on, you
mean,
can't do that.
they stayed
To
behind
me, the
most of the
Big
game.
Ten, yeah,
They stayed behind most of the game.
Big Ten to me is overrated again this year. I don't think they're as good as people are putting them out to be. I never thought the Big Ten was this juggernaut of a conference for football because outside of Ohio State and Michigan and kind of Penn State, because you can't knock off their ability. They're a decent football team, whether they play Bowling Green close or not. There's 2-0. But outside of Ohio State and Michigan, who else do you have in the Big Ten?
Well, Michigan, obviously, did you see what happened to them today? I mean, Texas just absolutely
Yeah,
destroyed them.
Texas. That's
Was
what I'm
not even a
saying.
game.
Texas absolutely. It wasn't even a game that
So
absolutely rolled over them.
yeah,
I had 2 TVs going, and that just so happened to be the other game that I had watching. And I'm like, this game's not even competitive. I turned it off, and I just focused on the
and
Pitt game because you know
and if I'm not mistaken, Penn State plays Michigan this year, don't they? Or do they play Ohio State?
they do.
I can't remember. I can't remember. No, they play. I think they play Michigan, and they got to play USC. So, hey, this Michigan team did not look good. So when Penn State and Michigan play now, it's going to be a pretty big game, really,
It
because
is.
how good is Penn State and how bad is Michigan? Because that seems to be the team that Penn State can't ever beat them and Ohio State. So anyway,
They beat
They,
Ohio State 1 time. Go ahead, Dave.
I don't see a Michigan game, but they play USC.
USC.
Oh,
I thought
so
you
they
said that they
avoid
play Ohio
Michigan.
State then. They
Yes,
play
yeah,
Ohio State. They
USC
probably
this
rather
year.
play Michigan this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd rather play Michigan this year for sure. I'm looking over these scores here real quick, guys. South Carolina's still holding their own, 10-6 with Kentucky. So that game's 14-14 still Maryland State or Maryland and Michigan State. There's some pretty good games going on out there. I'm trying to find the score of this Iowa State game because I can't see it from here. It looks like Iowa 13, Iowa State nothing, but I'm not sure. It could be 18. But I think it's 13-0. Iowa's beating Iowa State
how
right now, which is just
how
shocks
does
me.
Iowa, their offense is so bad that even our defense would be able to make them look stupid. I don't get how Iowa keeps hanging in these games and accumulating the records that they have year after year with the worst offense. Is their defense really that good?
Their defense is just that good. It really is. Look, hey, that they're shutting down an Iowa State team right now that's probably going to average 30 a game this year.
Yeah.
And they're shutting them down right now. I mean, I don't even know if they've moved the ball any, but they have no points, 13-0, and there's a minute to go. It looks like before halftime. So
Watch
that's not
Iowa
an Iowa
State
State
moving the
team that
ball.
you.
No, they could be moving the ball and not scoring, Joey. Turning it over whenever they
Right,
get into plus side of the
right. They
territory.
could be. They could be. I'm just looking at scores. So yeah, I have
Yeah,
no
but that's all
idea.
it matters. That's all that matters. Like I hate that bend but don't break rule when it comes to defenses, and I think that's what almost cost Pitt the game against Cincinnati. Is Pat
has that bend but don't break attitude. Because here's the thing. What if that bend causes the break and they break it off for a 70-yard run and that puts you out of the game right there? That puts
Yeah,
you out. You have no chance.
and that happens quite often. I mean,
It
especially against bend
does.
don't break. I always hate bend don't break um, like that because every time West Virginia gets into a bend don't break, it just seems like they go right down the field on us. And
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, you're in the red zone. I mean, literally every single time. So
You guys
I
are
hate
going to have your hands full against Desmond Reed next week. 100%. If that's the one player West Virginia has to look out for when they're playing the backyard brawl next week, that's him. That's him. He has. I don't want to call him Jaheim White because let's be honest, Jaheim White hasn't played as much as Desmond Reed has. Desmond Reed has about 3 years of college football under his belt to where he's been the starting running back. But I would compare them two together. I mean, if you want to go back and watch the highlights, Joey, you're going to see why I think he is just like Jaheim White.
okay. I'll
And
go back and watch the highlights.
I don't compare
But is there
pick
a
West
line?
Virginia
What
players.
what I'd like to know is does the Pitt have an offensive line that's blocking for it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, last year we gave up 6 or 7 sacks to Cincinnati. This year we only gave up 2.
Yeah. You still gave up 2.
2 that didn't affect the game, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank
All
God.
right. All right, guys. I want to see if anybody else wants to come in here. Let me post the link one more time. See if
Yeah,
anybody
I'm gonna
wants
go.
to.
I'm
You
gonna
can
go
hang
make
out. You don't have to
dinner.
go nowhere. You don't have to go
Yeah, well,
nowhere.
I'm hungry because I actually haven't eaten all day. Because right when I woke up, it was 10 minutes before the game, so I didn't eat. So I'm gonna go make a homemade chicken, bacon, and ranch pizza.
All right.
Oh,
Sounds good to
sour
me.
cream and
I'm gonna go make.
onion.
I'm gonna go make some chicken wings here in a little bit and have
Yeah,
that.
but thanks for having me on, Joey.
Good
All
meeting
right,
you,
man.
Pat.
It's good to meet you, Dave. Hey, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Dave, if I'm allowed to say that, Joey.
Well,
I'm
for
sure
sure.
Joey will. I'll
Okay.
watch for you. Watch for you. And we'll see you
Okay.
later this year, too.
Hey,
Oh, we
he
will.
he is Dave Brown, the bourbon hunter.
Dave Brown, the bourbon hunter. Okay, I like bourbon. See you guys.
Take care.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Brown's got an awesome little channel out there. Be sure y'all check that out. Dave Brown, the bourbon hunter. He does his
Crazy
little
man.
crazy lives. And you never know what you're going to run into when you go in there either. He might
We
be
have
talking college football, and he might be talking. I don't know who's the next Hollywood star. You never know what
Well,
Dave's going to be talking about.
I try to avoid it, but we do politics and religion occasionally.
Hey, I do want to announce. I do want to make a small announcement here, ladies and gentlemen. Baylor has scored. It's now 23-3. Baylor kicked a field goal.
Ooh.
Way to go, Baylor. So
It,
anyway,
really
they're still being slaughtered. So,
I'm watching.
that brings me to this: how long does Dave Aranda have at Baylor? Had a bad season last year. Just was not good at all. Did not look like Baylor. And this year so far, they just don't look like Baylor. So is Dave Aranda in trouble? Ask the chat that. I mean, that
There was.
I really figured that Dave Aranda was on the hot seat coming into this year. I mean, I
That's what I was
thought
going to say.
Dave Aranda,
Did a show.
right, such a hot seat. He was on such a hot seat. But the thing about it is I kept thinking maybe he's going to have a Neil Brown year. Maybe it's going to be, but my goodness, they were getting pretty much manhandled by Utah right now. And so, and that's one of them crazy in conference, out of conference games. So the games don't matter. Baylor, I don't know if they play again later in the year. I don't think they do. But this game don't count in the Big 12. So it doesn't hurt Baylor in the Big 12. But they're just getting manhandled right now. So, you got to kind of wonder, is Dave Aranda really on the hot seat after this showing?
Yeah, I think it was Uncle Lou that did a show on who he thought was on the hot seat. Maybe several coaches were mentioned. That probably was one of them. I suppose I didn't get to
Yep.
see it. But
Yep. So Bill Miles says, "Let's go Mountaineers and Hawaii Rainbow Warriors." Right. Now, is Hawaii still called the Rainbow Warriors? I thought they changed their name to just the Warriors or something. Somebody said a couple years ago. I don't really keep up with Hawaii, but I don't think they're the Rainbow Warriors anymore. I think they took the rainbow off. I don't know if that was some kind of a political statement or a left wing thing or a right wing. I have no idea.
Yeah, everybody's flip
But
flopping.
I'm just saying. I'm just wondering if it was. I don't have any idea. I don't think it ever came out as being that, but I'm thinking they've changed their name. Somebody said anyway. I wish I kept up with that stuff, but I don't. We just don't play Hawaii ever, and there's no need in keeping up with them. So, but now I do watch them because I like watching Hawaii play. They're a pretty decent football team. I mean, they travel the most. As a Mountaineer, I think we travel a lot. I can't complain. If you're talking about Hawaii, man, they can complain. I mean, their travel each year is huge. They're like 3 times what West Virginia is as far as travel miles to be in Hawaii. So, yeah, hats off to those players, man. That when they go on a road trip, it's a road trip. So,
yeah, it ain't like they're going to the next state over. Can't take a bus.
right.
Can't take a bus. Can't even take a
We're
boat.
going across an ocean here, So, yeah. So we're going to be a while, and then by the way, we're going 3 states in, so we're playing Utah. So, I mean, it's like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. So I couldn't imagine that travel schedule and being a fan of Hawaii. I mean, it would be really hard to even be a fan of Hawaii because of that, because you could never go to an away game, or even the bowl games. I mean, think about it. But I think that's why they got the Hawaii Bowl, right? That they play it every year, regardless, and somebody comes and plays them. Because them poor guys that live in Hawaii ain't got a chance to go and fly to a bowl game somewhere, for a little bit of nothing. So,
They have had some good teams there with maybe 20, 30 years ago or something. They had a real good offense, I thought.
here it says every
Maybe
game
not so
is
much
3,000
defense.
miles away. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really it literally is. I mean, it's like crazy.
But I have enjoyed watching them though. They had a big passing game. It seems like under Junie or whatever that they had a few years ago,
Yeah.
which was competitive against some of the teams they played out in the West. It's more of they were what Western Athletic Conference back then. I can't recall.
I don't remember either.
Mountain, what would be like Mountain West now or something. They weren't Pac-10. I know that, but it seems like they would have come.
Wasn't there a Pacific West? Or there was a Pacific West, but that was. Yeah.
So, are you surprised by anything so far today? That was what I wanted to ask next. If I could.
I was well, obviously, yes.
Syracuse,
I was surprised by quite a few things. I was surprised by the Georgia Tech Syracuse game. I was not surprised by that, not one bit. I said it last couple of days. Syracuse was my lock of the week to upset Georgia Tech, and it happened. So that one didn't surprise me. The one that really surprised me a lot, well, there's 2 of them. One was Texas and Michigan, and the other one was Oklahoma State and Arkansas. I really figured Oklahoma State would win this game pretty handily, and they struggled. It was overtime. And
Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, so Oklahoma State game, that really surprised me a lot. And of course the Bowling Green Penn State game did. Although
Yes.
when I think about it, Penn State, they were really high last week and looked really good. I think they were cruising, just trying to get by. And I haven't watched James Franklin post game, but I imagine that's what he's going to say is they were just that the players thought they could just cruise by the game or something.
Even the
So
Tulane Kansas State game kind of caught my attention. That's another example of a close
yeah,
one. That's a one touchdown game.
yeah, Kansas State and Tulane, yeah, 34-27.
So
That
it's
one
fun.
didn't surprise me so much though. I mean, it was a surprise, but it didn't surprise me so much because I really figured that game would be close up until about halfway through the third quarter. But Kansas State never did run away with that game. So,
And now it continues with Northern Illinois and Notre Dame, which I have on my big screen. I don't have that split screen stuff, but I can't believe Northern Illinois at Notre Dame had a field goal blocked right before halftime, so it's still 13-7.
well,
And even
today,
even my game, even my game is kind of surprising. You warned me about Rich Rod. I
yeah,
know that he's a great coach, and it's only 28-14. We had a field goal a missed field goal just before halftime, so it's still 28-14.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
he's a good coach. I mean,
who knows
I
what could
don't
happen in
know
the
his
second half?
offense.
I'm not.
The thing about it is his offense is what revolutionized college football as we know it today. Think about it. It all started back in those days of Rich Rod and that West Virginia offense, and just and I think Nick Saban even alluded to it a little bit today on College Game Day, in saying, you think about West Virginia, he was talking about the 3-3-5 defense and stuff. That was all established under Rich Rod, and so was the offensive scheme. He just brought in brand new concepts and stuff, and that's why we were able to just dominate people for a few years, And then everybody had to make that change and just say, "Okay, wait a minute here." I think after the Oklahoma game and the Fiesta Bowl, when we just absolutely just beat the drum out of them. I mean, it was bad. I mean, Oklahoma didn't look like they was a top 25 team, much less a top 5 team. And not saying that they were that bad of a team. It's just how they looked that day against that style of offense. They weren't used to seeing it, and they just couldn't stop it. There was just nothing they could do. And so, and then it goes all the way back to Clemson in 2012, and West Virginia just lightened Clemson up 70-35 in the Orange Bowl, or 70-33. Those style of offenses all came from Rich Rod, and even though we carried it over with Dana, so Dana was coming along too, and stuff, and he was figuring all that stuff out. And Dana kind of like was a little great offensive coordinator, terrible head coach, but they handed it off to him a few years after Rich Rod because it brought that style of offense back because we kind of missed it. We had Bill Stewart as our head coach, and he was really good head coach. We didn't lose a lot of games in those 4 years he was there, but we didn't have that high flying offense. We didn't have that quick quarterback out there taking the edges and stuff. People wanted to see the Rich Rod type offense. So I think that's what brought Dana Vogeltown. I think that's what why Oliver Luck hired him and put him in there. Uh, it was just that style of offense, and I think that was a hurt. I think that hurt West Virginia a little bit
And
because
I hope for Dana,
even
but
though Rich Rod did a great job for us, we had already transitioned to the style of offense they're playing today, and we over pursued that, and I think it hurt us a little bit. So now that we expect nothing but that, and it just can't be that all the time. I wish it could, but but now I think that Neil Brown's a good coach. I just hope that he can get this team turned around and get Garrett Green moving again. And this looks like the West Virginia team from last year, and we can get out there and win the Big 12. It was a disappointing loss to Penn State last week, but the season the season can start today with a win. And it's one game at a time. And this is not an Albany team that's coming in here with going away with an L. They don't have that on their mind. They want to win this game, and so West Virginia better be ready to play.
to one play at a time. But what's the spread on this game today?
All right, man.
Is there a spread?
There's no spread because it's the FCS versus FBS.
FCS.
They don't put a point spread on those. Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to get out of here. Go ahead and hang out in the back room with me a second there, Dave.
Okay.
But guys, we appreciate you guys being here. Everybody go cheer on for West Virginia. Watch that game. Come back. We'll have a post-game show right after the game. That'll be Frank Beer, Coach Greg Chris, and those guys. So be sure you come back for that. And that will be immediately following the game. So everyone have a great night, and let's go Mountaineers.